As we enter Springyard Act 3, we now have every Chaos Emerald. All with an asterisk, because we don't have every Chaos Emerald, there's still one we don't have. Again, you can't enable that in the mobile version, but I elected not to. So yeah, we can't even use Supersonic if we were playing Sonic, because, well, for one, we're Tails, and he typically doesn't have a super form. It's a little bit complicated. This is bad. Okay, I will not get crushed. I was a little bit worried, because Sonic 1 kind of doesn't hold back at times, so yeah, a little concerned for a moment. But we're fine. Just gonna keep making our way through here. The song is also pretty good. The Genesis has such a unique sound to it, and again, foreshadowing. Sonic 1 and 2 specifically have a very specific sound that even later Sonic games don't really have. Like, even the other Genesis Sonic games actually don't necessarily sound the same in terms of how like their instrumentation is constructed. It's really fascinating. Again, trying not to overuse Tails' flight, but I didn't want to climb all the way back up manually, so I chose to fly. Again, one of the reasons why I like to play Tails, even though I have now finished the game of Sonic for the first time, wasn't exactly fun, but I did it, and that's why I decided for this playthrough, maybe I should just play as Tails, because even if I don't use all of his like gameplay mechanics, having that as like a fallback, if necessary, is nice. Like, even if I don't fly everywhere, even if I don't spin dash everywhere, it's so nice to have that as an option just in case something goes awry, and I don't have to completely scramble to, like, save myself in specific levels. Again, more on that later. Alright. That did not go as I was hoping. Oh yeah, by the way, Sonic stages always have 10-minute timers. That's not a problem in this game, but in later Sonic games, you will be pushing your luck with that timer. Sonic CD is probably the only classic Sonic game where I actually got a time over. The only other one where I've gotten a time over recently is actually Mania, because one stage in Mania, and again, if you've played Mania, you probably know exactly what stage it was, because there was one stage that is absurdly long, and I want to say I did get a time over the first time through, or it got really close at the very least. So yeah, in general, the 10-minute time limit isn't that big of a deal. It becomes a bigger deal as the series goes on and the levels get more complicated, and also the way the emeralds change. So yeah, in most games you need like 50 rings. There's an exception to that, which again we'll see later on. Next up is another Eggman fight. He will basically try to lift up the floor. Again, if we are Tails, we can actually kind of break the fight a little bit by just flying into him, trying to play the fight more traditionally. We can still deal like 2 or 3 hits per cycle, but obviously we have limited floor space, so we have to kind of get a move on in terms of actually dealing damage quickly. When Eggman's Eggmobile kind of hovers low, you can occasionally deal damage, like it's sometimes low enough to land a hit. But it's not super consistent, like that. It worked out perfectly then. I am flying here because I don't want to fall now that I've actually defeated the boss. Sonic 1 as a game tends to be kind of mixed in terms of its stage design, as I get hit by an enemy that popped out of the floor suddenly. It kind of alternates, so like, in general, odd-numbered stages are fine, even-numbered stages are bad. And this is definitely an example of that. Labyrinth Zone, probably one of the most infamous Sonic levels, because it's the first water level in Sonic. Sonic will drown, or all characters will actually drown, after a certain amount of time, and yeah, also really bad enemy placement and obstacle placement, so yeah, I'm really glad I got all the emeralds before Labyrinth, because I was not looking forward to trying to hold on to 50 rings here, if I'm being honest. By the way, the prototype Sonic GBA that Stealth made also included other stages. It was mostly Green Hill, but he did actually implement Knuckles and Tails with their Sonic 3 movesets, which is probably why they ended up in Sonic 1 Mobile and now Origins. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if that was part of the inspiration behind that, since he had already kind of been toying with that with the GBA version. But it also included like unfinished builds of Labyrinth. Like, I don't think there were enemies or something, like there was stuff missing, but it still was like really impressive considering how poorly how poorly Sonic 1 on the actual GBA Sonic 1 ran to actually put Labyrinth in, because Labyrinth was the worst stage in Sonic Genesis. By the way, when I say Sonic 1, I'm referring to the Genesis version. When I say Sonic Genesis, I mean the GBA version, because it's actually called Sonic Genesis. Again, not confusing at all, but just to clarify what I mean when I say Sonic Genesis, I am not referring to the Genesis game. Sonic Genesis is notorious for two things, one being screen crunch, which is a common thing in handheld games where the screen is zoomed in to an absurd degree to make the player character stand out, but then you actually can't see like background detail or what's ahead of you. It's also really notorious for slowdown. Like, it runs so poorly, and you can actually tell because there's a timer in these games. In Sonic Genesis, Labyrinth Zone, for example, lasts like 5 or 6 minutes, but the timer will be like 2 minutes because that's how much slowdown there is. By the way, Tails can also swim. I'll try not to use that too much either, but I will make exceptions if I have to, because, again, Labyrinth Zone is an experience. I would rather make this a little bit easier if I can and not completely suffer through this. So yeah, Sonic 1 is a fascinating GBA version. Supposedly it was actually built off of the Sonic Advance engine, which was not well suited for Sonic 1, and that's part of the reason why it ran so badly, but I actually don't know if there's actual proof of that. It's also worth mentioning that to this day, no one actually knows who all worked on Sonic 1 or Sonic Genesis, and the reason is because the GBA version's manual doesn't list credits beyond like marketing people and like producers, just generally at Sega, so not like specific staff for Sonic Genesis. And the game's credits are actually only the original credits and do not list who made the GBA version. The working theory is that someone was like, I don't really know if we should put our names on this game, so it's just kind of been a mystery of who actually made it. It's actually believed to be in-house though, because there doesn't seem to be any signs of external developers involved, which almost makes it more fascinating to me. Which also might explain something with the engine rumor of it using the Advance engine, because those were made by Dimps. So if it was Sega using the Advance engine, which technically maybe they weren't super familiar with, because again, those games were not made directly by Sonic Team, that also might have contributed to why that game went so badly. Like, an engine that was really poorly suited for Sonic 1, made by a team that maybe wasn't exactly well-versed with that engine. But again, this is all kind of speculation because, again, it's sort of a mystery of who actually worked on this game, and all the inner workings of it. Sonic Origins, on the other hand, because it actually has a PC build, has proven to have some unique aspects to it. Like, from what I understand, there are actual, like, basically there's like a menu that connects all 4 games, and that appears to not be made with the retro engine that the actual games are made with, but instead made with the Hedgehog engine, which was used for basically most modern Sonic games and the most recent Sakura Wars, of all things. They're on the Hedgehog Engine 2, which was used for forces, so the interesting thing about the Hedgehog Engine's involvement is they're also, from what I've seen online, there also appears to be traces of elements that may connect to Sonic Frontiers, based on internet rumors of content in Frontiers that actually matches level names or like file names in Sonic Origins code. I am going to preemptively say something, and I'm going to say it very deliberately because I am prone to jinxing. This is going way too well. By the way, here you actually have to jump off of the slide to get to an alcove with the switch that opens up the actual path. But like, even though I am playing as Tails, I haven't really been swimming, and even then it's actually going really well. Though, to be fair, I actually have an explanation for that. I think it's just Labyrinth isn't that bad if you have a frame rate. Even on the Genesis version, it's still a little choppy, like it's a little sluggish at times. Not Sonic Genesis levels, but it's not smooth either. But having like a full 60 FPS version of Labyrinth kind of makes a difference, I think. It makes it a lot easier to like line up jumps and everything. Sonic 1 has weird physics, by the way. It's kind of like a lot of the first games. I think of like when they tried to... Wow. Well, there's the drowning music, briefly. The very infamous drowning music. Didn't get to hear it too long, thankfully. Bubble spawns feel very inconsistent in this game. I think they actually sped up the timer in later games, so you actually get bubbles more frequently, which is good for future water levels. But what was I saying? Yeah, when you actually can play Labyrinth at like a smooth frame rate, and even though Sonic 1's like overall physics are a little bit weird compared to Sonic 2 and 3, it does help a lot, actually. Yeah, I was gonna say, it's kind of like with a lot of the recent remakes of like classic games, how they kind of, like for Spyro the Dragon, they basically made the physics between all three games uniform, which kind of messed up a few things in Spyro 1, specifically from what I gather. While with the Sonic games, for example, Sonic 1, 2, and 3 do have slightly different physics, but actually have been left relatively intact. One thing I'm actually not sure about based on the level select menu and the options that are on by default, I think it actually this version might have gotten rid of a speed cap. So in the original Sonic 1, there is actually a speed cap where they do limit your top speed in the air and horizontal, if I'm not, or on the ground and in the air, and you can actually toggle those individually in this version. I do feel like that could cause some problems, especially like if you go so fast that you like outrun the speed, or the speed of the screen scroll. But I haven't noticed any major issues with that. There was a problem in Sonic 3 though, and I have seen video of actually going so fast you can actually scroll the screen too far and end the level early. But again, that's part of the reason why I don't want to do story mode and actually go through each game individually, to give them time to work out some of the weird quirks of specifically Sonic 3, because that's actually the only new one for this collection. Basically Sonic 1, 2, and CD are just kind of like the mobile versions brought over to console by Sega directly, or Sonic Team directly. I kind of forget which one it was. Yeah, this was like a Sega thing. Stealth, actually, the retro engine was provided for this, but from what I gather, Taxman wasn't super directly involved. It was mostly Stealth who brought Sonic 3 over for this collection. And there are definitely some quirks. I feel like it definitely feels a little bit rushed. But again, in this day and age of the internet, which is not my favorite thing, you kind of have to give games a little bit of time to percolate, because the launch performance is often very different than the final performance. So again, just kind of wanting to put off Sonic 3 for the time being. This Labyrinth Zone, like water tower climb segment, sucks in Sonic GBA because of the combination of not being able to see very well and also the really bad lag. And our reward for surviving the previous zone is Starlight Zone, which is actually one of the better zones. I think this is probably my second favorite zone, which is, I mean, admittedly kind of a low bar so far, because, like, I mean, Spring Yard was alright, Labyrinth was not great, even though this was the best Labyrinth Zone experience I've ever had, to be honest. And I didn't even need to swim. Like, one of the main reasons why I picked Tails is, if you fall down the, like, tower climb part of Labyrinth, it can be awful trying to actually get to the top as Sonic, because of the amount of time you have before you start drowning. So, like, I did pick Tails deliberately to give myself a little bit of breathing room so I could actually skip a few segments if I had to by swimming, but I didn't even need to do that, which was actually nice. On the whole, maybe it's because I did 2 full playthroughs yesterday, but on the whole, this is actually going really well, and again, I'm a little bit hesitant to say that, because I am a little prone to jinxing myself. Yeah, no deaths in Labyrinth is actually really great, honestly. Yeah, we're past the worst of the game, sort of. Are we? Actually, I think we're not past the worst of the game. We're past the most infamous bad part, at least. I think it goes without saying, but Act 1 actually has 2 exits, a lower path and an upper path. I like how we can see both signposts. Yeah, Starlight Zone is just kind of this little pleasant break between Labyrinth and whatever awful experience we'll have in the next zone, basically. A little bit of foreshadowing again. Yeah, Starlight has really great music. This is probably my second favorite classic, or my second favorite Sonic 1 song. Green Hill is iconic. Actually, I like this one better, now that I think about it. I like Green Hill, but it's overused. I really wish they would have brought back Starlight for something, instead of just using Green Hill constantly to represent Sonic 1. Like, I like Mania a lot, I like Generations a lot, but the amount of overlap between those games is a little annoying, if I'm being honest. But yeah, I really wish they had tried to bring Starlight Zone into, like, either Mania or Generations, because honestly, I think a Generation Starlight Zone would be, like, really cool.